Welcome everybody to the SSSP Awards Recognition virtual part of the meeting. I'm appreciative that you're all joining us. I so wish we could meet afterwards and have a reception and share some food and drinks, and I'm really hoping that we can do that in person next year and see each other again. Before we get started with the awards ceremony, I want to just recognize and take a moment of silence for SSSP members that passed away in 2019. I will read their names and then we can have a moment of silence. So Robert Aponte, Severin Bryan, Thomas Calhoun, Mark Frezo, Richard Gellis, James Geschwender, Myron Glazer, Mary Joyce Green, and Allison Griffith. Thank you, everybody. And now I would like to recognize past presidents of the SSSP and just thank and recognize their service to this organization. And I think that if you all raise your hand, Rachel is able to bring you in, and if you all could just sort of turn on your cameras and give a wave and be recognized by the membership. And thank you all. Oh, hi. Thanks. Do you hear the crowds back there? Whoo! Yeah, I don't have a laugh track. I have a crowd track. Okay, quiet down, quiet down. All right, thanks, guys. And at this point, we are going to watch a video that is going to talk about the first, the 2020 Indigenous Peoples Social Justice Award, which is the first year that we're offering this award through SSSP. And so I'm going to turn it over to Michelle for the award, and I just want to recognize Dr. Valerie Francisco, and you'll see more about this when the video comes on.
My name is Valerie Francisco Menchavez, and I am the chair of the Local Arrangements Committee for the 2020 SSSP Conference. With Dr. Teresa Verdal-Rocha, Dr. Orly Clerge, and recent master's graduate, IT, we have worked to honor the Ohlone Ramaytush peoples in our work for the conference. In scholarly circles, presentation of land acknowledgement at professional events as a recognition of the nation's history of Indigenous genocide and dispossession has become a norm. Scholars in American Indian and Indigenous studies, in education, and in ethnic studies suggest that such statements are a beginning, not an end, to the recognition of 5 centuries of violence endured by Indigenous peoples. The 2020 SSSP Annual Meetings Local Arrangement Committee addresses this by going beyond a written land acknowledgement, rather centering the wishes of local Bay Area Native peoples and encouraging sociologists to take an active public role in honoring Ohlone lands and Indigenous land stewardship. To this beginning, we would like to award SSSP's inaugural Indigenous Peoples Social Justice Award to Sogorea Te Land Trust. The organization is an urban, Indigenous, women-led community organization that facilitates the return of Chochenyo and Carquin Ohlone lands in San Francisco Bay Area to Indigenous stewardship via the Shumi land tax. a voluntary annual financial contribution that non-Indigenous people living on traditional Chochenyo and Karkin Ohlone territory make to support the critical work of the Sogorea-Te Land Trust. The Shumi land tax directly supports Sogorea-Te's work to acquire and preserve land, establish a cemetery to reinter stolen Ohlone ancestral remains, and build urban gardens in the Bay Area. These community centers and sacred arbors, these gardens, will serve the current and future generations of Indigenous peoples in the Bay Area. This award will be directly contributing to that Shumi land tax. As guests on Chochenyo and Karkin Ohlone lands, the SSSP is happy to make this contribution. It is our hope that this award can be the beginning for SSSP to not only acknowledge the Indigenous peoples on the lands in which we convene, but more importantly, to ensure that SSSP continues to lead efforts to disrupt and reject ongoing violence of settler colonialism. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Valerie. And now I would like to ask for Nashoni Brown Almaweri to turn on her mic and video, and she'll be accepting the award on, she'll be accepting the first Indigenous Peoples Social Justice Award. I'm gonna turn the mic over.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Najoni Brown Almari. I'm from present day West Oakland and I work for the Sogorea-Te Land Trust. Sorry, am I able to share, should I share the slides now or just speak a little bit about Sogorea-Te?
Rachel, can you give her some guidance on that?
You can share your screen at the bottom. You
Awesome.
may do that, yes.
Okay, cool. So, okay. Uh-oh, am I still here? Okay, can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I just got a new phone, so I'm trying to pull up. There we go. Okay. Here we are. Okay, so we are an Indigenous women-led land trust based in the Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area. We are here in the territory of Huichin under the guidance and leadership of the Lishan Ohlone peoples. Our organization is founded and directed by Karina Gold as well as Janella La Rose. Oh, sorry. So here we have a map of some of the different territories in the East Bay, and a lot of our work is going towards reclaiming these names and reclaiming our cultural ways, especially those that are from this specific area. So when we refer to the land here, we refer to the different territorial language groups, we refer to the different waterways. So here the organization is based in the territory of the Lishan Ohlone peoples that speak the Chochenyo language. A big part of our work is working with food and medicine. So we have access to 3 different land sites where we're growing traditional medicines that we're able to process and give out to the community. We are hosting programs that encourage language revitalization as well as things that allow us to work with traditional items and materials such as soap root and tule and mugwort. And another thing that we are doing is we're learning construction. We're finding how there's a balance between modern as well as traditional ways of building things. And we actually have started the process and are finishing up the construction of the first ceremonial space in this area in over 250 years. The arbor is a space that will allow people to pray and gather together to sing and to dance. And that is located at our main site at Lishan in present day East Oakland. So a big part of our work is funded through the Shumi land tax that was mentioned earlier. It's a voluntary land tax that allows everyone in this very diverse community to play a part in the healing and the rematriation of this land, and a direct way of being able to address the legacies of colonization and other things that harm our very intermixed communities. So by calculating your shiumi, that comes from maybe your income, as well as if you're a renter or an owner, and through this way you're able to help our work, and it's a small part of acknowledgement and a start to the conversation on how we can all be better guests on this land and better guests to the Lishan Ohlone people. Here we have a picture of Janella with a model of the arbor in East Oakland at our Lishan site, and there's also some sage there. So the wood from California, when we harvested the wood and we brought it down for the arbor, we were very intentional about the way that we do things. So when we go out and we harvest and we ask the earth for blessings and we ask animals for blessings, we lay down tobacco and we make an offering. So everything that we did during the construction of this ceremonial space was deeply spiritual for all of us. And we're always engaged with our relatives. We have some photos of relatives that have visited us from South America, Central America, other indigenous communities. And through these cultural exchanges, we've been able to learn how to harvest things like amaranth, which has a very unique and very liberating history. If you learn about how amaranth was prosecuted and how it survived despite Spanish colonialism. Here's a photo of one of our other sites in present-day West Oakland. It's called Ramai, and here we have over 12 different varieties of fruit trees, and we also welcome in the American Indian Child Resource Center and their youth Oakland students that are able to come in here and to plant and harvest and to be in community with each other. Here's a picture of some of the plants that we're working with, and a lot of our work, and especially related to medicine, has to do with California native plants and bringing those things back. Tobacco and sage as well that are used for ceremonial purposes. And I mentioned the tule work that we're doing, so we actually had an elder in the local community come down and teach us how to do this tule work, and it was a great experience for the Lishan Ohlone peoples as well as others in our intertribal community and other cultures. And when we talk about rematriation for us is the work that we're doing. It's the reclaiming of knowledge. It's the reclaiming of our traditional languages. It's giving medicine out to the people. It's what we do through our food distributions and our conversations with other communities and the fight for liberation of all peoples. Here's another photo of our Ramai garden. Another site that we have is in collaboration with the Go-Track community in Albany. And a photo exactly 1 year apart, celebrating the anniversary of our Ramai garden. And here we've also been able to receive some amazing artwork as well as facilitate artwork and invite artists to do things in installations such as the indigenous land that's installed at our Albany site. The current site, our sign that is at the entrance, patches that we've been able to give out to the community and spread the word about rematriation, and artwork that shows Karina and Janella together, our two leaders. Just to wrap it up, I just wanted to say that all of our work has been possible with the facilitation and the transfer of knowledge, being able to learn from our elders, being able to learn from community members, and just people that are culture bearers. And it's very important to protect these people at these times, both young and older, people offering us wisdom. And we're very keen on appreciating our elders and allowing them to share their stories with us. Because with these stories, we're able to do our work and to protect our communities. Okay.
Thank you so much. And we do have time for Q&A. And so if folks have questions, I think you could just put them into the Q&A and we can read them. That's correct, right, Rachel? That's the way we're doing the Q&A?
Yes.
Okay.
You can also ask people to raise their hands if you prefer. We do have one person raising their hands. I'm going to bring her over as a
Thanks, because I'm not able to see that, so I appreciate that, Rachel.
And if you would just unmute and ask your question.
Who is it, Rachel?
Nancy Naples.
Oh, okay. There.
Wow, that's thank you so much. This is amazing. Congratulations to your group for all that you're doing. I'm wondering how you might coordinate with other groups doing similar work. And I would imagine a kind of a larger conversation that's happening. And I wonder if you could either share that or give me a sense of it. Do these transcend boundaries? Are you working with folks in Canada and in the south of us? I'm just sort of curious about the extent, the boundaries that are set are clearly the colonial boundaries, and I'm wondering how you're organizing, troubles that even beyond our local imaginary.
Thanks for your question. So our collaboration has came about with the protocols that we do with youth groups. So we've invited, before Shelter in Place, we actually had the honor to host a group of dancers and singers from the Aboriginal peoples in Australia. So a big youth group came out here and they were able to do a performance along with the local Pomo tribe. So our collaborations are in the way that we hold ceremony together, being able to go to other communities and provide food and medicine to them. And we've also noticed that some people have, around the same time of us or even influenced by us, have started their own ways of creating a voluntary land tax. So north of us in, I believe, Washington and all the way out in New York. And we've actually had some people say, I want to donate to you, and they're in the middle of the state or they're in the middle of the country, or they're in other places and around the world, and we're telling them, go out and reach out to your local communities, learn about these lands that you're on and you're working on and living on. So our collaboration really is just like with our community, and if people reach out to us from Central America and all over the First Nations or here in the US, we're here to help our other Indigenous communities in creating those organizations if they need, or receiving guidance if they have questions about how two women got it started in a predominantly male space. Because when Karina and Janella created this organization, they were in a lot of spaces where the leaders were mostly male presenting, and they wanted to change that. And now we have a predominantly female staff and women identifying and femme staff. And our focus is on families and everyone.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more question, and then
Someone sent in a question. Hector Delegado, do you have any support from city council people and politicians in the San Francisco area? So I shared the second photo. I'm sorry if it was very quick. But there was a picture of the different territories, and one thing that we, when people reach out to us for a specific land acknowledgement or a collaboration, we make sure that they're in touch with the that particular territory. So for San Francisco, which is Yelamu in the Chochenyo language, I believe the leader out there for some of the groups is Greg Castillo or Costello. So most of the time when people reach out to us from the other side of the bay, we direct them towards our other relatives. And I think I would have to get more clarification from Karina, but I know that Karina, as a tribal member, as the spokesperson, traditional spokesperson for the Lashan Ohlone people or Confederated Villages of Lashan, I know that she's in conversations with the different counties and the city of Berkeley, especially with the ongoing cases for the protection of the shell mound. but to my knowledge, I'm not too sure who exactly. But we know that when we get those questions, we make sure they go to the specific territory and tribal leaders.
Nishani, would you be willing to entertain one more question?
Sure. Is it in the chat or the Q&A?
No, not in the chat.
Okay.
There's a couple of folks that were brought in to, yeah. So I think I see, I don't see Patty in the, I guess Nancy Mazzee?
Hi, thanks so much for your work and for answering questions, and congratulations on the award. This question is really basic, so please just excuse my ignorance and my just sort of learning, but I was really fascinated just even with your opening saying that you were from the land that is currently known as West Los Angeles. And I just was wondering, that sort of made me wonder, how do you, or do you have suggestions for people who want to be allies? You know, so outsiders who want to be allies, and the language that we can use, because we know that language is very important. You know, just sort of saying where we're from or what we're doing. Do you have suggestions for how to be an ally, just even in our everyday lives?
I'll try my best to hit a lot of points. Sorry if you couldn't hear me, but I'm actually from West Oakland. My family, I was born on the Navajo reservation, but my family on my mother's side came from Missouri, Mississippi, and Kentucky, and my dad's side, they came from the Navajo Nation. And for all of my life, and as well as 2 generations back, we've been in Oakland. So being a part of intertribal and intercultural community, that's definitely something that I have to think about myself, because this isn't my own land. And also having a legacy and a lineage of peoples that were stolen from their home and brought here as well is very complicated for me, and things that I have to think about every day. So I'm very particular about when I say native or where I'm from exactly. So I think it's important for everyone from any background to look at their lineage and honor that legacy, honor those honor those ancestors, and go back to those traditions and see how you can honor those people. And then for your physical location, whether you're going to school somewhere or you're working in a land or you've moved somewhere recently, I think it's really important to orient yourself to that community and both present in the cultures that are being reclaimed. Learn those languages of the traditional names. So when we're here in Berkeley and Oakland, we're saying the territory of Huichin. When we're in Deep East Oakland, we refer to it as Lishan. When we're planting things like Mexican marigold or Aztec marigold, I believe it's called, instead of saying those common names or Latin names, we call it Sempachuli. So we're going back to the indigenous name that was that we learned from our relatives further south of us. So that for one, my advice to others is really just to look back at your own lineage and ancestry and honor those people, especially the people that made it possible for you to be here today, and to honor the lineage and the culture of those of the land that you're on. And you can do that by learning more about why land acknowledgements are important, why it's important to protect these spaces that are sacred for people to gather, why it's important to protect shell mounds and sacred sites, why it's important to call things in their original names and their indigenous names, because there's a lot of power in that. Just like our parents named us a certain way, there's a lot of power in that as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for the work that you're doing, and congratulations on the award. I appreciate all the teaching you just did.
Thank you. We're very, very grateful to have this award and for this space and the platform, and I'm very honored to accept it for the Land Trust.
Thank you very much. We're going to now go to the Social Action Award. And so on behalf of Dr. Vince Montes, and he was the chair of the Thomas C. Hood Social Action Award Committee, I guess I'm going to just introduce the Coalition for the Homeless, and we're going to watch a video So Rachel, I think it goes to you and a share video at this point.
Hi there, my name is Olivia and I work at the Coalition on Homelessness.
Hey, I'm Cooper Arona. I'm a disabled firefighter, street medic here in San Francisco for the unhoused, and a volunteer and outreach worker for the Coalition.
Yeah, and we just want to take the time to thank you all at the Society for the Study of Social Problems with awarding us the Thomas C. Hood Social Action Award.
Thank you.
So, Cooper, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the Coalition's all about?
I think the Coalition is basically here to have our backs, to have people that are unhoused, are treated so unfair day in and day out, never really having a come up, a way to rise above some of the bullshit that happens out on the street. And not only that, our city leaders pretty much leave it out, to struggle, survive, try to make it on your own without any support or any structure or anything that makes them feel like they belong or that they even exist in a city that they most love this city like I do. I love my city. I'm disappointed in my city, but it would be nice if our city leaders asked what we need, what we want, what would help us climb up and end our homeless, I don't know what to call that.
Yeah, well, I think kind of what you're getting at is that the Coalition is based on the principle that unhoused people are the experts on homelessness.
Yeah.
I think, Cooper, you were telling me earlier about how city leaders, the mayor, supervisors, they don't listen. They don't ask homeless folks what they think the solution should be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And so I don't know how any other way to explain it, to get their attention we scream and yell, we Coalition, we protest, we send out, all these signs to our city leaders, the things that, you would think that they pay attention to, but they don't. We even have, Coalition even has a street sheet that, it's a paper, and yet our city leaders refuse to, hey, pay attention to what's in it, because right now people are suffering on the street and they're being ignored by their city, the city that they love, and they shouldn't be ignored. They should be, instead, our city leaders should be walking on the street, asking questions, saying, hey, what can I do to help you? What will make your life better? What can we do as your city to make your life better?
Yeah, and so the Coalition on Homelessness in San Francisco holds a pretty unique space in terms of being a nonprofit that doesn't get any government funding, city, state, or federal. And this is so we can stay true to our mission of centering the voices of those who are experiencing homelessness in the policies, the decisions, and the discussions around homelessness here in San Francisco. One example of this is with the quality of life laws that are around San Francisco and many other cities and states in the United States. Cooper, why don't you tell us an example of what these quality of life laws are?
Well, the police, they love to do anything they possibly can do to maybe harass and or move along, someone that's unhoused. There's a no sitting on the sidewalk, you sit and lie. You can't sleep in your car. You can't, have a tent, where you can feel safe and you can have your own little space in a park or somewhere where you feel like you can not get robbed, something bad happen or something, that little tent is some people's like their castle. And the cops come along, they cut the tents open or they have the person move along, whatever. They get, misdemeanor tickets, jail time, fines. There's things that just end up leading to more trouble and issues down the road, which warrants, so most unhoused folks that I know have 60, 70, quality of life tickets like this that they can't pay. So all it is doing is just, making it harder to exist in the city that they love.
Yeah. And in 1996, our work at the Coalition on Homelessness led to the DA dropping 40,000 of those quality of life laws. So that way, homeless folks today are getting less quality of life citations than they were 20 years ago. Yeah. So our work has also led to the creation of a bunch of other things. So, for example, we helped create the the Shelter Client Advocate Program, which is out of the Eviction Defense Collaborative. And that's where if you've been exited or unfairly kicked out of a hotel, an independent advocate can help get you back into that shelter. And I misspoke. I said hotel, not shelter.
Because we're hoping for hotels, but pretty much, right now. So it's all on our mind right now. So yeah.
True.
But yeah, the shelter issue that, some staff can just kick you out just for no reason. So, and that's what that is in place for an outside source to fix it so they can get back in and hopefully get permanent housing.
For sure. Another thing that the coalition helped to create is the Community Housing Partnership, which helps to house thousands of those who are formerly homeless into permanent housing. And another place that we've helped to create is the Mission Neighborhood Resource Center, where Cooper actually works.
Yeah, we have on Thursday nights, we have a ladies' night where, unhoused women can, come to a safe place that they, if it's 2 hours, but those 2 hours seem like, a whole 24 hours. We do clothing exchange. We do, they get a hot meal. They can sit in a chair and just relax without, and talk to other, folks that, they feel like it's more like a kind of family environment, not only is there clothing hygiene, but also we have harm reduction. So the folks that need those types of things can come and get it without being looked at or made to feel uneasy or uncomfortable. It's very open door, very chill, relaxed, and want people to feel safe, comfortable, and that they can trust and believe in the staff that's there and feel like they had issues, whether they can come to us. And we're hoping to provide a little bit of structure and stability so that they keep coming back.
Yeah. So we just wanted to say thanks for sustaining our work. One of our most recent victories is when we went to the ballot in 2018 with Proposition C, Our City, Our Home. That taxes the wealthiest corporations in San Francisco that make over $50 million, and it allocates $300 million just to homelessness here.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to say thanks for supporting this work, so that way we can sustain this work for years to come. So from all of us at the small ragtag, coalition, we truly appreciate your generosity and support.
Thank you.
And if you want to learn more about the coalition, where do people go?
Go to the coalition website, and you can.
Which is
what?
COHSF.org.
Yep. Check it out, and you can learn a little more, and it's good. Learning is power, right?
Yeah, and if you want to learn more about Cooper, who is one of San Francisco's unhoused residents who is doing some awesome work here in the city, you can go to cooperwashere.com or check out the documentary, which is under the same title. So thank you so much from all of us here, and we hope you all have a good one.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, day, and make it matter.
So I know that Cooper and Olivia were not able to join us, but I just, on behalf of SSSP, just thank them for the work that they're doing. And it's such an honor to be able to have a space to honor that sort of work, so important. So at this point, I think we should turn the mic over to Javier Trevino, past president of SSSP and chair of the Lee Founders Award Committee. Thank you, Javier. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Heather. So I'm just going to read my comments. Actually, they were 10 minutes, but I think I got them down to 2.5 minutes. So please bear with me. Thank you very much. So it's my pleasure to announce this year's winner of the Lee Founders Award. The award is made in recognition of significant achievements that demonstrate devotion to the humanist ideals of Alfred McClung Lee and Elizabeth Bryant Lee. Before I announce our winner, I want to thank the members of the 2020 Lee Founders Award Committee for their work in this important activity. And they are Marlise Sturr, Giovanni Burgos, Apruva Ghosh, Elizabeth Hughes, Michael Johnson, and Wendy Simons. Thank you, guys. And now for the announcement we've been waiting for. This year's winner is Ashley Woody Doan, professor of sociology at the University of Hartford. Congratulations, Woody. Woody's consistent record as a member of SSSP began in the early 1990s, but he's been attending our meetings since the 1980s. Woody has also served on a number of committees and is currently co-program chair of next year's meetings in Chicago. As one of Woody's most ardent supporters for the award, David Embrick has written, and this is quote, "Woody's heart is one that exemplifies the mission of SSSP, and he selflessly promotes the aims of the organization broadly through his mentorship and leadership." Woody serves as role model and mentor to many students in general and students of color in particular. His scholarship is devoted to the study of whiteness, white supremacy, colorblindness, and anti-racism. His edited volume with Eduardo Bonilla Silva has shaped the way we think of whiteness and racism in the discipline. Several colleagues and friends of Woody wrote enthusiastically in support of his nomination. Incoming SSSP president Corey Dolgun writes, quote, "Woody is not only driven by a reverence for a job well done, but also by a vision of a professional organization dedicated to making the world a better place through research, teaching, writing, and social action." I myself have been a longtime fan of Woody's at a distance. Though we've had limited personal contact, I still remember fondly his taking time out to have lunch with me during the SSSP meetings in Toronto back in 1997. I want to end by quoting part of Woody's philosophy of life and work in his own words. "If we intend to pursue social justice, we need to challenge systems of oppression and critique practices that limit human potential. We need to explore and to expose the myths and practices that legitimize and perpetuate social inequalities. We need to analyze grassroots organizations and social movements to develop new and effective strategies for social change in a changing environment." Congratulations, and thank you, Woody, for all you do.
Wow. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Javier, and members of the Lee Founders Award Committee. And thanks to David Embrick and a group of scholars who nominated me for the award and wrote letters of support. I was completely blindsided when I received the email that I received the award. And it's really, all I can say is I'm going to really try to do my best to live up to your faith in me. This award is particularly meaningful to me, not only because I've been a member of SSSP for decades, but also because it's named after Al and Betty Lee, two sociologists whom I've always admired. I actually even was privileged enough to have a couple of conversations with Betty Lee back in the early 1990s at AHS meetings. I should also note that I'm also a career-long member of the Association for Humanist Sociology, which is another sociological organization co-founded by the Lees in their very prolific career. Like the Lees, I believe that the only meaningful sociology is a sociology in pursuit of social justice, a sociology committed to the service of humanity. And in the spirit of the Lees, I hope to take up Heather Dalmage's challenge to work with my people to help SSSP and humanist sociology find its lane. So I was taking notes during your speech. And to work very hard with Corey Dolgun and others to build a revolutionary sociology that we'll get to talk about at next year's meetings in Chicago, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations. So now I'm looking at Dr. Carla Shedd, and I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Hi, everyone. I am delighted to have the honor of announcing the 2019 C. Wright Mills Award finalists, and then the winner. I first want to thank the committee for all the work they did in the midst of multiple pandemics this, this year. It was really hard to get the work done and the reading done and the ratings done on our regular schedule. But people really came together and made it happen, even when their offices were on lockdown and they didn't even have their books with them. So we really made a truly formidable effort to get this award announced. So thank you to Melissa Weiner, Andy Clarino, John Eason, David Embrick, Casey Henricks, and Cameron Whitley for your amazing work on getting this award done. Thank you, committee. Okay, and now we should have a screen in the background. I thought of the finalists. Is that happening, Michelle?
Rachel, is there a screen for the finalist?
I do not have one, no.
Okay. I will keep going just to let everyone know, if you did not know the criteria for this award, it's really high level, and there are 6 pieces of the puzzle that we thought, start my video, okay, that we thought would evince a book being suitable for the C. Wright Mills Award, and one, that it must critically address an issue of contemporary public importance. It brings to the topic a fresh and imaginative perspective. It advances social scientific understanding of the topic. The book must display a theoretically informed view and empirical orientation. It must evince quality and style of writing, and explicitly or implicitly contain implications for courses of actions. And I will say, out of the 85 books that were in the pool for this year's award, there were many, many strong contenders, but we have 5 finalists that I want to recognize first. So in order of last name, the first book, and at least I'm ready with these here, is by Dr. Orly Clerget, who wrote this book, The New Noir, Race, Identity, and Diaspora in Black Suburbia, out of University of California Press. Dr. Clerget, are you here? Oh, there we go. Our next finalist is the book, The Privileged Poor, How Elite Colleges Are Failing Disadvantaged Students, by Dr. Anthony Abraham Jack, out of Harvard University Press. Dr. Jack, do you want to wave? Okay. Our third finalist is Dr. Kari Marie Norgaard, and this book is Salmon and Acorns Feed Our People, Colonialism, Nature, and Social Action, out of Rutgers University Press. Michelle, I'm seeing a blank screen, so I can't tell if people are coming on to wave unless they're at my top panel. So I'll keep going. All right, our fourth finalist is a book by Dr. Kianga Yamata Taylor, Race for Profit, How Banks and the Real Estate Industry Undermines Black Home Ownership, out of University of North Carolina Press. Congratulations on being a finalist. And last but not least, we have the book by Dr. Adia Harvey Wingfield, Flatlining, Race, Work, and Healthcare in the New Economy, out of University of California Press. Congratulations on being a finalist. Okay, and drum roll, please. It's not like I have an envelope, but here we are. So the winner of the 2019 C. Wright Mills Book Award goes to Flatlining. Congratulations, Dr. Adia Harvey Wingfield. I would like to say this book was selected because the committee was extremely impressed by your astutely intersectional analyses that illustrated how inequality in the workplace should be at the center of sociological research and policy agendas, especially now in this moment where COVID-19's impact will further exacerbate the trends you have documented in this book. So I want to thank again my committee. Thank you to all the amazing authors. I will say it came down really, really close. There was a lot of deliberation and we thank you so much. So Dr. Harvey Wingfield, would you like to give a couple of words?
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Dr.
Wingfield. Fast, I know.
Yeah, they're giving us 3 minutes. I'm so sorry. And they're literally cutting us. So.
I know. Thank you. It's very humbling and exciting to receive this award. I want to thank the award committee for honoring my work with this recognition. And I'd like to acknowledge the other finalists as well, Early Claridge, Tony Jack, Carrie Norgard, and Kiara Yamada Taylor for their incredible books and exceptional scholarship. I hope you'll join me in congratulating them as well. I'd quickly like to acknowledge a few people who played critical roles in this book coming to fruition. Christine Williams, Joya Misra, Kevin Steinbach, Vinny Rossino, Michelle Lamont, and Marianne Cooper all read various chapters of the book at different stages, and I know their feedback helped make it a much better project than it otherwise could have been. Naomi Schneider was a great editor who gave me space to let the book tell its own story. My department colleagues at WashU created an ideal professional environment in which to work. And from a personal standpoint, my husband, kids, parents, and sister create an ideal personal environment for me just to live my life. With that said, I want to conclude with a few words about Flatlining itself. I wrote it because I wanted to think big about the impact organizational and economic changes have on Black professionals. In a nutshell, what I found was that as organizations make episodic and uneven commitments to racial diversity in a neoliberal economy, their sometimes haphazard efforts perpetuate distinct and multifaceted forms of racial inequality. I stress this because while I collected data for and wrote Flatlining several years ago, the issues the book raises about race, work, healthcare, and inequality could not be more evident right now as we are having this conference virtually because of a pandemic that's disproportionately affecting Black and Latinx communities. I hope as sociologists committed to addressing social problems, we can use our collective wisdom to advance public sociology that speaks to the pressing racial and economic issues that are crippling the US right now. As sociologists, we are uniquely situated to weigh in on these issues, and I thank you for recognizing my attempt to do so.
You also get an award for doing that so well in such a little amount of time. Congratulations. Carla, anything you want to say before we bring this to a close?
I want to say thank you for the honor and thank you again, SSSP, for recognizing work. This was an amazing process, and just to know that these scholars can have their work elevated to an even higher degree. This is wonderful. So I'm looking forward to talking more about these books as the year goes on because they're so needed. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks, Carla, so much. And this concludes our awards portion. We are going to be back in just a few minutes with our panel on the pandemic. It's going to be an amazing panel. I hope to see you all back here in a few minutes. And congratulations, Dr. Wingfield.